Now, a lot of people ask me, what is your true passion? How do you see yourself working every day, and what gets you excited every day when you wake up and get out of your bed? And I'm a huge proponent of the things that motivate you should be not just your job, but the things that you truly care about and you love. And that's been always games for me. I've been born into games. My dad gave me the first Nintendo when I was very young, and I played the Super Mario and all of that from the very beginning. So later on, when I was young, I went to internet cafes, and a friend of mine started a defense site for World of Warcraft together with me. Created an internet cafe, and he was a business owner, so I was exposed to the games like my whole life. And so it was no doubt in my mind that the games are going to play a big role. But I was in Serbia, and Serbia was a very niche market for gaming, at least the mainstream gaming. So it took some time for people to become sort of mainstream aware of gaming being an industry that is actually, profitable. Funny you say that now. So yeah, I think overall gaming has always been my passion, game development, and the players that are in those games, and the way they collaborate and solve the problems and improve those games over time. So yeah, I think what gets me up in the morning is very important, and that is, waking up and finding out what the players have done to the game, and what the developers have in store for those games, and then making the games as best as we can, and releasing those games that are under the wraps and not ready to be released in a best light possible. So I think that is the key. Releasing a new game is a challenge, and building its community from scratch is something that I truly enjoy. And that includes game production, thinking about the game product from the very beginning, from the very first sprint of the vertical slice, and all these development stages that take place. You need to think about the user first and the way players are going to experience the game from the main menu. How does the main menu look like? Do players have the ability to stream the game? Like, how exciting the game is going to look like on stream? How, is this game going to be lasting for another 10 years? And all of that stuff. You need to think about it from the get-go. And I really like to put myself into the shoes of the player and imagine all of that, and sort of base a lot of those decisions on that ground. And thinking, okay, so what is the hardcore user going to do in this game, and what is the casual user going to do in this game, and who do we target, and who are we trying to serve here? So, and also like that involves also a lot of unique ideas and opportunities to explore new possibilities with just interacting with our players through our game. Because I think, like, very often what people think about building a community inside the game is mostly not really in it. It's mostly running Facebook and Twitter, which is very outdated and archaic way of thinking, but it is still the case in a lot of countries. So I think that what gets me excited and what gets me up in the morning every day is that new ways of thinking about how do we make games that can engage with our players and grab their attention, not for the monetary purpose, but for that feeling that when you log in into the game, you have somebody to talk to, and that you are able to build meaningful relationships in these games. Because some of my best friends are coming from World of Warcraft and EVE Online, and if I've never played those games, I would never have those friends. And so it is crucial for me to understand and work on games that are capable of doing that long term. There is in this gaming industry, there is very common word thrown around all the time now, game as a service, where people assume that when you call your game as a service, that means that you are going to be continuously supporting the game over time and giving free updates and whatnot. But more and more increasingly, games that basically means loot boxes and a bunch of updates to new stages and new heroes that don't really fit into the lore or don't make any sense to the game, and very quickly and eventually you will end up with foxtails and pink outfits because the developers need to try to figure out how to maintain the game exciting and compelling, which I'm not a fan of. I think that there is many more ways to interact with players and understand what the user actually wants, instead of just throwing the generic content that you can come up with. And the more you nurture that conversation and that discussion, the better your game is going to be moving forward. And so that is something that I'm truly passionate about, and I will always be, from either community management or production perspective. I just recently started learning data science and machine learning, and I don't have any background in Python or programming whatsoever. So I'm learning this from scratch because I have a feeling that these technologies are going to be enabling us to do even better job at understanding what players want and giving them even better experiences. And when I say giving them better experiences, I don't mean trying to get as much money as possible from them, which is very often what developers and publishers especially think. And so that is something that really excites me and gets me up in the morning. I also am truly passionate about creating environment and just ability for people to thrive and grow in their work and collaborate in the most efficient way possible. And one very small example is that, like giving people tips how to organize their inbox, or being able to show them how to organize their browser to be most efficient in terms of bookmarks and navigation and daily routine. I'm not a fan of routine myself, and so I would try to minimize the routine to a smallest degree possible, and then focus on creativity and output the most creative ideas and test them out and see if they work. So if there is a routine that needs to be done, I would optimize it to a degree where everybody would be happy with and would be able to adapt to it. So yeah, those are all my passions, and there is not like one specific thing. It's a mix of all of those things that I worked on over the past 8 years of my career. And I would love to be always in environments like that, where we are enabling people to do their best work, from the matter of layout of their desk and their hardware, being able to not slow them down to a point where we have a brainstorming meeting where after 30 minutes we come out with like some crazy ideas and we try them out and have fun. And that's something that is truly missing in a lot of studios and a lot of teams. And so I truly enjoy that. So I hope that in the future I can continue doing such a work, and that my next 10 years of working experience are going to truly be unlocking people's potential on both like player's side and the developer side. So yeah, I think that is overall kind of like wrap up of my brainstorming or thinking about the way I think about it. And I don't want to keep these videos edited or cut into pieces, because I really truly believe in just on the fly thinking and giving people like my honest reaction about things. So I hope you guys appreciate it.